This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, more on that later. Relationships can be incredibly rewarding, but also pretty frustrating, right? And when that happens, when your relationship is frustrating, you might go vent to a friend or a family member, right? But maybe not even that, because you don't want to damage the reputation of someone you love just for catharsis. We're all on the same page here, right? Yeah, apparently we're not, because partner shaming on social media is bigger than ever. Well, it used to be that normal people could only bash their partners to their Facebook friends, and milking relationship drama for clout was reserved for YouTubers and celebrities. TikTok has completely changed that for the worse. Because more than any other platform, TikTok is based on the idea that any video that anyone posts could take off and get 1 million likes. So now you can get your catharsis by embarrassing your significant other to millions. And I gotta say, this is one of the single most disgusting things that I've ever seen being normalized on the internet. Which sounds dramatic, but hear me out. The thing about bringing the internet into your relationship is the full story is never provided, because people see social media as a way to vent, and when you vent, you're unlikely to provide the context of how you contributed to the situation, right? Which leads to people taking a situation that was their fault and lying about it until thousands of people are calling their significant other a monster. Let me show you what I mean in just one second, because this video is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. Look, you might already know that Raid is a free-to-play mobile RPG with over 80 million downloads that range from hardcore players to casual fans. You might also know that the game features console-level graphics, over 650 unique champions to collect, and billions of ways to customize and build those champions. Personally, I'm really into team-building RPGs, so having so many champions to choose from is definitely a plus, especially the event-themed champions, such as the Valentine's Day ones. And not that anyone asks, but my channel, my rules. My 3 favorite Valentine's Day champions have to be Temptress, Rhodos, and Siphi, because undead characters based on Valentine's Day is actually pretty cool and probably on brand for me, right? But did you know that there's still time for new players to get in on a special Valentine's Day themed adventure with the Raid Love Quest? All you need to do to get involved is to download Raid Shadow Legends from the links below, copy your in-game player ID, and then head to raidlovequest.plarium.com. There, enter your player ID and set out on this heartfelt quest. Get it? Look, it's running from now until March 14th. Play one of the Valentine's themed minigames for a chance to win some fantastic in-game and real-life prizes, including Valentine's Day themed raid champions and even Amazon gift cards worth up to $1,000. And you could use that to buy an iPad to play Raid on a bigger screen. So, you know, win-win. And if you're a returning Raid player, you can still get in on the fun. Anyone can take advantage of the special promo code SaintValentine23 to get a small Valentine's gift from the Raid team. And if you haven't started playing Raid yet, click the link in the description or scan the QR code here on the screen to get unique bonuses worth $30, including free champion Chonaru and other useful goodies. Thanks to Raid for helping keep the lights on. Now back to the video. So here we have this woman exposing her significant other to millions for locking her and her child out in the cold. She even goes so far as to chronicleize her process of breaking into the home. So wow, this dude sounds like a monster, right? He deserves to be exposed to millions, right? Obviously. Except, in her comments, the woman admitted that they were originally planning on sleeping elsewhere, and they changed their mind about that in the middle of the night, which seems like a huge omission from a video that had thousands of people accusing the husband of cheating and worse. And other parts of her story had context that she didn't include. Like, he didn't answer her ringing the doorbell because he was sleeping and had ambiance playing. And personally, even without that, I don't think a doorbell has ever woken me up unless I was sleeping in the same room as the doorbell. Also, the husband refused to answer his phone because it was 3 a.m. and she took his charger, so his phone had died. Oh, so did you feel your blood pressure come down as I gave you the full context of that video? And I started with this example because it perfectly demonstrated my #1 question whenever I see this, which is, how does your mind work? That you put your partner on blast to millions, embarrassing them to millions, not to mention everyone you know, and then still expect the relationship to function and continue. And the common defense partner shamers use is that they didn't think it would go viral, which is still garbage because 1, you embarrassing your significant other to all of your friends and family isn't any better. And 2, these videos almost never get taken down after they go viral. How do you do that to someone you're in a relationship with? And her being frustrated at the situation is obviously valid, but like, how are you gonna put your mans on blast like that when it's your fault? That's messed up. And this lady knows that, because like every time this happens, she made another video defending her husband and saying he shouldn't get hate because there was more context. Because her husband was probably really hurt about the negative attention he was getting, but she was enjoying the positive attention she was getting too much to take the video down. Like, am I missing something, or is that just nuts? Like, not for nothing, this lady decided it was a better idea to break her lock than just go back to where she was supposed to spend the night anyway. In fact, I've just gotten to the point that if I see someone bring the internet into their relationship, I just assume they're the problem 99% of the time. And call me crazy, but someone who puts their relationship drama on the internet is not someone whose judgment I trust. You know? And like, there's an entire account dedicated to some woman doing exactly this, which resulted in her husband making an account to show all the things that she takes out of context for her videos. Spoiler alert, they apparently separated after the entire internet turned on her. So yeah, please vent about your partner on social media. It'll go so well. And beyond venting, people will use social media as a means of winding themselves up to the point of paranoia as a substitute for having an uncomfortable conversation with their partners. In fact, let me take you through a saga that results in someone accusing their husband of cheating to millions. Let's just get into it.
So my husband is on his bachelor trip right now, and yesterday he decided to not text or call me. So I'm over here every single night. I can't go to bed unless he says goodnight to me, like, you know, that's what a wife needs.
Wow. Did you try telling him how that makes you feel and explain that that's an accommodation you would appreciate him making?
So what do? I text all of his friends like a psychopath. I start spam messaging Ross, and I'm like, this is the worst week ever. I'm not gonna be able to talk to you for 5 days. I hope you're having a horrible time.
Okay, so guess not. But she then proceeds to accuse her husband of lying about how he's spending his time and speculates about whether or not he's cheating.
We just explored the ship and ate food. Like, they didn't. Don't lie to me. And they have a steam room. I'm so excited. But I'm like, what else are you doing, you know? So this is fun. I love this for me.
Super cool things to say about your brand new husband to millions, because I'm pretty sure annulments are a lot cheaper than divorces, so you might be doing him a favor there. And after this, she shows text between her and her husband, shows a video of him talking to her, and she asks the audience to determine whether or not he's lying.
All right, guys, send me a video. What do you think?
Never mind, I'm totally wrong. Partner shaming clearly leads to super healthy relationships. And then it became a couch guy scenario where she has to argue with the comments about her husband because the comments turned on her when she didn't leave him because of this, which also always happens. Though I'm pretty sure at some point they decided to like play this up as a means of promoting their fitness business because this is like the peak of their engagement. I have no like proof, it's just a tinfoil hat guess. And of course, this leads to people on TikTok using the fact that the creator's partner is kind of awkward and not super emotive as evidence that he's cheating. Though in case you missed the news last week, I'll be the first to tell you, people can be awkward sometimes. Like, especially when your relationship is being filmed for content with thousands calling you a cheater. I'm awkward with none of that. Also, I love the virtue signaling that people do about how educated and understanding they are about mental health, yet the second someone demonstrates the biggest symptom of autism, they're automatically an untrustworthy cheater. Now, I'm not insinuating he has autism. I don't know him. I'm not a doctor. That'd be dumb. It's just always funny to see people brag about being inclusive until someone's different from them in any way that requires them to show an ounce of understanding. Anyway, also fun fact, the wife in this scenario had the very bachelorette party she was terrified her husband was off having, so that's a great look. And possibly the worst category of all of this is using social media to just make fun of your partner, including when they almost stop living. See, there was a trend a while back that was about making fun of your boyfriend for being overly dramatic when they're sick, but this trend caused perhaps the single most infamous example of partner shaming yet.
So my fiance called me today while he's at work, and he says, babe, I just threw up. And he's like, feverish. He's like shivering the whole way home. I had to pull over 3 times because he's literally barfing everywhere. And literally, like, he's like really dramatic when he's sick.
He's being what? If my significant other were to throw up 4 times in like an hour, I would probably be dramatic too while I rush her to a hospital. Like, if that's not when you get to be dramatic, when do you? Like, if your boyfriend were on fire so he had to drop and roll, would that give you the ick? God, dude.
So he's sitting in my passenger seat, just like shaking, shivering, moaning, whining, all of the above, barfing. So I'm taking him to his doctor. Out there, they ask him his birthday, and he's just moaning and staring at them like he doesn't know his birthday. So I tell them,
So he's delirious. Why are you annoyed? Like, either this is severely out of character for him and you should be terrified, or it's not, in which case you should help him make the transition to being a single man in therapy. Like, I get someone not wanting to talk to administrators because they're too weak, but if you think he's lying about not knowing his birthday, run. That's bad.
and his clothes are all wet. And I said, babe, why are you all wet? I took a warm bath in the sink. You did what? And thought that was normal, said it in front of them. And they're looking at me, I'm looking at them, and he's just sitting there whining and moaning like he doesn't see an issue with this. And I'm so embarrassed, I'm just sitting there like trying not to look.
Bro, at no point was the agency of this story ever on the boyfriend. It is exclusively about him being sick was embarrassing her.
There's 3 nurses in the room because he's literally puking everywhere. And
Yes, there were 3 nurses in the room because of how much care he required. And this isn't an example of hindsight is 2020 because throwing up for hours can kill you. Probably. I mean, tell you the truth, I'm not a doctor, but she is a nurse in training, so I think she should know that that's not good. And if that wasn't bad enough, she took a video of her boyfriend curled up in pain with the silly, "oh no" sound. And the boyfriend ended up having the flu, which still kills thousands of people a year, mind you, but thankfully he recovered. And like, yeah, I get the flu every couple of years. Everyone does. But it has never made me throw up once, let alone nonstop for hours or be delirious. Like, imagine if he didn't recover and the last thing she did for their relationship was this. Because this was posted while he was still sick. And it turns out men might not be the only ones with the audacity anymore, because she then said this.
if you're in a relationship and you and your partner can't laugh about something like this, then maybe you're the one that needs to be looking for a new partner.
Yeah, I agree that a sense of humor can be pretty important to a relationship, but there is a difference between him being in on the joke and you making fun of him to millions and minimizing his suffering. Like, she eventually posted a video of him telling the story and laughing about it, which, sure, if the dude wanted to do this, then great. In fact, there's a couple on TikTok, Cody and Leslie, who often poke fun at each other in their content. But it works because the two of them are in on the joke and seem to have an open communication about boundaries. The Advocate does this too sometimes. And I'm gonna quickly give a shout out to the other type of partner shaming, which is when you do it to an ex. Now, I'm not talking about someone sharing an anecdote where the viewer can't know who the ex is. Like, generally I'm fine with that. Though not when someone pretends to keep the ex anonymous but proceeds to make it really obvious who they're talking about, because that's both cowardly and manipulative. But there's a trend now that's all about showing what your ex missed out on by juxtaposing the best picture you've ever taken with the ugliest photo you have of your ex. Usually it's a silly one they sent on Snapchat because they trusted you. And every blur you see right now is one I added. And a lot of these videos got millions of views and thousands of comments making fun of some random person's appearance that didn't even do anything wrong. Though let's answer the question of what they're missing out on. Nothing. Because doing something like this requires you to be an incredibly small and petty person that would have been a nightmare in the long run. Also, doing this trend is a huge insult to yourself because the shamer is admitting that they only dated their ex for their personality, whereas their ex probably dated them at least partially for their appearance. Or the shamers just have really low self-esteem and standards. Either way, this is pathetic. And the other type of ex shaming is when you expose your ex for being a horrible person to the world. Any guesses how I feel about it? Here's a hint. Every time I've seen this, it's someone making incredibly inflammatory statements about their ex to ruin their reputation, only for the ex in question to come in and reveal that the full story isn't so black and white. Because 1, people lie. People act out of spite. And 2, even if your intentions of embarrassing someone to the world somehow are good, you cannot be objective about a relationship or a bad breakup. You just can't. And in a messy breakup, chances are both people suck to some extent. But when someone shares their story online, paints themselves as the victim, and uses all of the buzzwords that people are sensitive to, the internet will blindly believe that person, all in the name of juicy, juicy drama. And my thoughts on this ultimately come down to one sentence. If you bring other people into your relationships, I am just going to assume you're the problem in them. The main exception is, of course, if you need help getting out of a dangerous situation. That's obviously not what I'm talking about. But I really do think that putting your partner down to others, especially strangers, is inexcusable. Like, it's a fundamental betrayal of your relationship because you're taking away your partner's ability to be imperfect and learn from their mistakes. And I'm not a psychologist or anything, but this also just feels abusive to me, you know? Like, I have this platform, right? Someone that I'm dating probably wouldn't have one, so that could give me an advantage over them, right? To use that as a way of gaining control over them, to reward good behavior and punish what I deem to be negative behavior is wild to me. Like, it is a premeditated act where you are explicitly and intentionally hurting someone you love for literally no gain. Like, how is that different than using money or power or physical strength to control someone? The character that partner shaming requires is enough for me to have absolutely no trust for anyone that engages in it. Though I do trust you to leave a like on this video because it helps it reach more people, and I also trust you to allow me to give a special thanks to The Dadvocate because their content helped inspire this video and provided some of the examples. Links below. Anyway, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go do what sane people did before the internet and light my ex's car on fire. Bye!